Sure do.
And a Khajiit in a kind of tree.
A Khajiit in a kind of tree. Okay. Hold on, I'm gonna edit stream info real quick. 1 year in review. Yes. Yes. Done. There we go. That's fixed.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay.
Goodness, that's bright. Ah!
Docs.
Hold on. Edit. View. What's it under?
Wait. Why did this pull up? Last week's? That wasn't what I wanted. They got out of order. Okay.
Now, how on earth? Oops, wait, there's what I needed. There's what I needed.
Is this going to be the second week in a row I don't have to update the Twitch app?
Maybe.
Cool.
It does.
Guess no one's doing any updates right now because it's the end of the year.
No, it's like every time I got on the Twitch on my laptop, it was like, you need to update.
Yo,
okay.
Are you guys okay if I make the page a little more gray so it doesn't blind me?
That's fine.
Okay, good.
Make the page
Do
a
it.
little more gray?
Yeah. I mean, I think it changed. Did it change it on yours?
Are you talking about the notes?
Yep.
That's crazy.
I could also make them black and do white writing if people prefer that.
Mine is black with white writing.
Really? Oh, it's because you're on your phone, aren't you?
No, I'm on my Chromebook.
Interesting. Mine
Okay,
doesn't...
yeah, no, we
But
should...
Here.
I mean, it's an Android app, though.
I lightened it up. Is it too dark, Gwen?
That's better.
Hold on. Let me just leave it white. I'll leave it white. I'll turn my brightness on my screen down. I'll do that. Yeah, for some reason, I don't think they ever built in... Did they ever build in a dark mode? I don't think they did. Hold on. It has it automatically on mobile. But
yeah, I mean, this is Chromebook, but it's a...
What's up, Tatanko? Oh my gosh. Hey, buddy. Welcome in. Those are cute little plants.
There. Dark mode, you're welcome.
Thanks, Gwen. It is past your bedtime. Wow, I'm impressed you're here with us. Thanks. Oh, and Moki. Thanks for popping in, friends. Yeah, I have an extension set for us for dark mode, but it only does the outside of the... Wait, I got it. Check.
You did it?
Boom.
Okay.
Fixed it.
Good.
Yeah, it's past my bedtime, too. I have to leave for work at 6:30 in the morning, so everything's fine. We're doing great. We're doing great. We're doing great. Okay, let me have a seat. Let's have a seat. Oh. It won't let me sit in the middle of the sofa. You gonna lurk? Thanks for being here, Tatanko. You're being sneaky. Good evening, everybody. We're just in pre-show trying to get a few things settled. Like our show notes.
You know, the important things.
You know. I'm just making myself a couple quick notes to go off of here. one-word things that people probably won't understand. Okay.
I have no idea what that is.
Perfect.
That means she did it right.
This second word right here, what is that word even?
What?
Never heard that word.
Black Marsh?
No, that
Argonians?
A word there.
Argonians?
Yeah, I've never heard that word.
Liar.
What is even that?
Yeah. Okay.
What is a Roz?
What is a Roz? Who is
All
this
right.
Roz of which you speak? I don't know, but apparently he's scared of us because he's way over there on the couch. That's funny. The two wood elves are sitting next to each other, like side by side, and the cat's like, nah.
Well, you know how us cats are. We do things on our own terms. I'll get close if I feel like it, but if you try to reach out, then I'm gonna run away.
Very, very true. Very true. All right, I'm ready whenever you all are.
All right.
I'm a mute.
Welcome into the Snugpod Cast, everybody. Yes, I did say welcome in because there's a crazy wall right there in sight if you're watching. And anyway, yeah, welcome to a Snugpod Cast. I'm Never Separate. We're going to talk about some stuff this week, largely speculative because there's not a lot of news, but we'll get to that. I have two people with me as per usual. I've got Gone Crazy back soon. How are you?
I'm good. Been a little busy in the last few days, but good.
All right. And Gwen the Bard, how are you?
I'm good. Yourself?
I have an itch behind my ear, and I can't quite reach it. My foot won't get that high, and for some reason, never mind, I just got it. My character scratched his ear, so I had to go with it. Sorry. Anyway, I'm doing okay. So, what's everybody been up to? Anything fun?
It was a Bosmer's birthday this week.
It was.
It's been a trial. Or four. Four trials.
Four trials?
4 trials. I did 4 trials. I was so excited. I've been looking forward to this. And then I thought it was just going to be one, and I had no idea what trial to expect for one of the guilds that I'm in. And they did 3 trials, which is great. It was a way to help people get the Golden Pursuit. If you normally don't do trials, that was the whole point of it. And so we ran, what was it? It was like Halls of Fabrication, Sunspire, and VMall, but on normal. I'd forget the name of that trial. So it's VMall on normal. And then we tried to do a Lore Seeker trial, on PlayStation, and we have learned we are not where we need to be to have a Lore Seeker trial on PlayStation, but
It's okay.
we finally used it. A lot of good things came from this. One, we finally used the group finder, which was amazing. We had 0 issues with our group. Our group was great. It was set up as we're doing a beginner trial. There was only like one other person who joined. So we had to get out of like PlayStation chat and go into game chat, right? And there's only one other person who joined who wanted to talk, who wasn't part of our initial group. And they were wonderful. They're a new friend now. They helped with mechanics. Nice person. And so that turned out great, and everyone listened. It went smooth. We all just did the trial, and then everyone moved on with their day. It was wonderful. And there was lore, and I will totally review that trial later when we get into all of the review stuff. But yeah, it was fun. Also, Ember is now at level 20, so I just have... So next, I'm working on Zirithfar now, and then it's going to be Tan, and then lastly Sharp, because honestly, his is... Like, I like Sharp, don't get me wrong, I like Sharp. It's just his skill is not the most useful to me, because I already have my boat. Unless we get a new cool companion that has a cooler passive skill, in which case they might end up taking priority. So yeah, what has everyone else been up to?
Crazy.
Well, I also did a trial with you. I was on doing my tickets, and you pulled me into the halls of fabrication. Wow.
That is
It was a
fabulous.
fabrication run. No, halls
Fabulous.
of fabrication. And I actually think I had thought that I had run that before, and I realized partway through, nope, never have run this trial. Not ever. Not on PlayStation, not on PC. So that was fun because I got that done for the very first time ever. Then I messed up and had signed up for the PlayStation trial, and the Ninetales, Mr. and Mrs., are in town right now where I live, and I went over and hung out with them, and completely blanked on, I know, there being a trial. And Gwen didn't kill me yet, but I'm pretty sure that the Black Sacrament has already been performed, and that I'll be dying.
There's only so
soon.
many times I can say I'm going to push you into the Mississippi and not do it before I actually need to push you into the Mississippi.
Yeah, I'm fully expecting it the next time, actually. Either that or you'll kill me before I get there. But
Is that like some kind of New Life thing that you would else do? Push each
No.
other into the Mississippi?
Nope. She said she was going to do that the first time I met her. But I tried to make up for it a little bit, and we did a dungeon. We did Shipwright's Regret with our new friend from the trial, to help Arthuria farm for a few things, I think, but then they ended up not needing anything else. Other than that, I have been doing some New Life stuff. I realized I had a few achievements hanging out that I hadn't done. Like, for some reason, I had not done the lockpicking one. So I got that one taken care of. I'm like, what was I doing during this? So I got the lockpicking achievement done, and then I think there was one other achievement on PC that I had hanging out. So now I just need the outfit achievement from this year, and then I'll be all caught up with that. I messed with my snow globe a little bit on PC. I have progressed Zareth Var a little bit more. I just did that actually earlier this afternoon. The lore for Zareth Var is super chunky and awesome, and I love it, and I can't wait to see his like final bit of that story. Last night, Gwen, you and I sleepy-est, or I sleepy-est while you were awake, through the Craglorn Skyreach
It was
catacombs.
like having two companions with me. It was great.
It was like having two companions because I wasn't really doing much because I was mostly sleeping, sitting straight up.
Like the bear and Zareth Var were helping me DPS, and the Chokethorn was just keeping you alive.
Yeah, I felt really bad. There were a few times that I absolutely dozed off, and I was like, "Oh, look, that boss is dead." And then I would like arrow spray and do a volley and some caltrops and wake up, and then I would be like, "Oh, good, I killed something." Because you were trying to help me. You were trying to help me level one of my characters to 50 on PlayStation so I can pick up the skill styles. So we did that. It was really funny. It was mostly you with just me being drug along. And then because I was so tired, I had forgotten to pick up the quest. But that's a whole other stupid thing that that's on me. And then this afternoon it was just fun because we had a few of us just hanging out in the Lore Seekers chat, which was really, really cool. We had like a couple different streams running, and we had at one point the Yule log ambience on, and then you were helping me play Tribute against Peanut at one point. So
and you deleted the wrong card.
I deleted the wrong card, and Gwen almost died. Yeah, so it's mostly, it sounds like, now that I'm reflecting on this, a week of Gwen shaking her head at me while I've been supposed to be doing things that I haven't been doing properly. Yeah. That and Zareth Var. So I guess you can say this week Gwen is disappointed in me, and I leveled Zareth Var. That's the TLDR. What about you, Kat?
I've not been doing a whole lot. I've tried to get on a few days and knock out one of the daily New Life things so I can get my tickets. I've already got the house, so I realized earlier before you got on that, excuse me, I never got the third of the body marking things, and I also don't have the pet anymore, so doesn't do me any good to buy the third one right now until I have the pet. Um, but yeah, I don't know how I managed to skip that, but I normally stay ahead on tickets. I normally have plenty of tickets and all of the things, and the thing morphed, or the whatever the morphable thing is. I already have it, and I already have the things to make it again, so that each time uh, I use it, I can already just go ahead and make another one. But I guess I just at some point got behind. I wasn't able to do some of the events as frequently um, as I've done in the past. But aside from that, that's largely been it. Yeah, I'm going to start experiencing some inventory woes, but but that's going to be okay. I'm all right. I mean, that's not that's a pretty normal thing for me, but I think it's going to be worse. But yeah, I think we can get into what other things we have to talk about. Which
So we're gonna go a little out of order. I kind of just
Okay.
put these down as I was doing it. We have remembering this past year, the loot,
Remember.
and then our wall of crazy. We're just gonna get the loot out of the way first. I'm just gonna list it off. So this is all of the loot that we got from that you could have potentially got from this year's daily rewards if you logged in a certain number of times every this year. You could have accumulated 3,075 seals, 1,000 one was it 1,500 gold. Yeah. 30 crown crates, 4 pets, 2 mounts, 7 wearables, a mixture of costumes and markings, 1 house, the daily, the Sword Singer's Redoubt, and then 2 DLCs, 3 if you pickpocketed someone, and then 2 DLC dungeons. Those are all the things you could have got for free from doing the dailies. I'm also including the morphable house in this because you can get it just by earning event tickets.
And a partridge in a pear tree.
Yeah, no, I tried to turn it into a song earlier, but it just wasn't happening. So that's a lot of loot throughout the year that you could have got just from logging in and collecting your dailies.
Is that gold number right?
Yes.
That almost sounds low.
It's right, though, because we had 1 month where you got 100,000 gold, you got 1 month where you had 50,000 gold, and then you had 1 month where you had 5,000 gold.
Well, there you go.
I thought we had more than 100,000 gold this past year.
There was only one.
Okay.
I went back through and looked through everything today just to make sure
you.
we had all of our numbers.
Even so, that's still real impressive. Wow. 30 crates, 4 pets. Huh.
So hold on to that list so we can compare it next year.
Ooh.
I mean, that's why we keep our notes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true. That's actually a really cool stat that I didn't even think about.
Yeah, I was just curious because we go through the news. My whole concept of doing the review, like, scripted this time, because we haven't done it like this in the past. We've just kind of like rambled off what we remembered.
Yeah,
but,
very true.
A year is a long time, and there's a lot of things that happen in a year, and a lot of things you forget about. Like, I forgot that our Snugpod got featured in the Heart's Day housing article.
I totally did too. When you said that to me earlier, I was like,
Yeah.
wait, what?
Yeah, back when we had the boat, because it was supposed to be the year of the boat.
Yep.
But then we had Gold Road, and there's Gold Road's a little landlocked.
That's fair.
So, yeah. But that was just a lot happens in a year. We've been through so much, and there's so many positive along with the negative, but we always talk about all of them as the year goes on that we kind of just forget about it. So I figured we should just put it all together. So yeah.
Why not? Why not? Goodness. Well, then should we get into the nitty-gritty of what actually happened this year?
Let's get into all of the things.
All
Did you
the
know there were
things.
14 in-game events and 9 IRL meetups?
That is very impressive. Quite impressive, in fact, actually.
9 meetups. Wow.
Yep. You're counting.
Yep, there was the Amsterdam, Althea, the German Tavern, Australia, San Francisco, QuakeCon, Brazil, Italy, and Gamescom.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I forget about things like Gamescom and stuff like that. That's not solely ESO centered.
Yep. I think that's where most of what will happen in this next year will happen too. Not Gamescom specifically, but I think I just have a feeling that if they do smaller meetups, it's going to be like it's stuff like that again.
Right.
We'll have to see. We'll have to see as it gets closer, I guess. And Gwen, you got to be at one
The Amsterdam
one of those events of the 14.
The Amsterdam event, yes. Yes, that was a fun time. Oh my gosh, I had to dress up as Tharn. I was late. The cosplay contest started late because I was late. Bless Jess for putting up with me. Bless you, Jess, for putting up with me if you listen to us at all. I was late. I'm getting in. I'm just like, my sister's helped me get into the costume and everything. I scared a small child on the train on the way there because of my makeup. It was great.
Amazing.
And Jess is briefing everyone about Nine's crazy thing. She's like, okay, so we had a last minute entry. Don't worry, they're not going to get any awards. And I'm just like, you're letting Nine do the thing, aren't you? And she's like, yeah, it's Nine. I'm like, oh my god.
We love that Nine Tail.
That was a fun time. If there is another ESO specific cosplay contest, though, I don't think I will ever participate again. Just because it took away, like, cosplay day was the day that I was also the day where it was mostly had a chance to see guildies. And so that took away from that a lot. And I would have rather have visited and hung out with guildies than do a cosplay contest. But I'm glad I had the experience. But next time, I'm just going to hang out with our friends.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I really missed out on just kind of hanging out with everyone.
Aww.
On that second day.
Right.
But that was fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure that was tough, but also your cosplay looked really freaking cool.
Yep, and now he's shoved in a box in the closet where he belongs.
Awesome. Oh, poor Abner. Oh, goodness.
I started calling it Tharnykins. That's what I call the costume.
Tharnykins.
Tharnykins.
Oh, Tharnykins.
You have to make up nicknames for your costumes when you're yelling at them.
Nice. What's Stuga's nickname?
Stuka doesn't have a nickname yet. She hasn't pissed me off that much. Remember, we're just working on the sewing. Once the sewing's done, then we have to make the ears, and we have to make the nose, and we have to figure out the skin, and then we have to, like, do the wig and the teeth.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Well, your sewing looks beautiful. I saw that earlier today.
She'll get a nickname at some point.
I mean, isn't Stuga good enough? Everybody already hates Stuga anyway.
I mean, Stuga already has enough spite behind her name.
Run like Stuga's chasing you, everybody. Oh, man. Goodness. Good stuff.
So,
yeah.
But there was also the in-game events we had this year.
Yeah, there was quite a few. We had a few new ones, too. We just had that Legacy of the Bretons one. We had a Westfield event that was brand new.
So, what? Did either of you participate in the Jubilee event or the Jesters Festival event? Because I missed both of those because of Amsterdam. I didn't get to participate in either of them. What did you guys think of those?
I think they were pretty much on par with normal. I did Jesters, but I didn't do, like, a ton of it. I just kind of kept up with what I needed to keep up with for tickets and stuff at the time. And the anniversary event, I remember I had stuff going on, so I didn't get to do as much as I would have liked to have done, like the Jubilee, event. But yeah, I mean, I remember liking both of them. I I, knock on wood, rarely get event burnout, though. I think it's because I don't, like, go full ham. Like, I do enough to get my stuff, and I hang out, and I just kind of enjoy it for what it is. I don't, like, over-farm, I guess. So I usually am okay when we have events at not being too burned out, you know? What about you, Never? Do you remember either of those?
The Jesters Festival, or what was the other one you mentioned?
The Jubilee event.
Jubilee. I always have a hard time remembering which one is the one that lets you do the crafting dailies. Is that the Jubilee event, or is that the?
That's Zeal of Zenithar, typically.
No.
Yes.
No,
I
no,
mean, you mean you do the crafting dailies and then you get a box with stuff in it?
Yeah.
Yes, you can. That would be something that is normally attributed to Jubilee.
That's what I was thinking. It's the one that any daily you do, period, counts. Yeah, if that's the event I'm thinking of, I normally just do the crafting dailies just to get as many boxes as possible. And I think normally I've done that. I'd log into every character and do it, but I don't think I even did that this year.
Jubilee event had the new cake quest this year with the apprentice. Remember the kitty cat apprentice, Moog?
Right. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So that had a new Jubilee cake quest, which I thought was kind of a nice addition.
Jester's Festival didn't have anything new, did it?
No, just new whatever the new thing was to get, but I don't even remember what that was now that I'm thinking about it.
So there was a new quest with the Jubilee event for the cake.
Mm-hmm.
There's been one or two other events that had new.
Hollowjack had a new quest because we had to actually fight Hollowjack.
Right.
Yeah, and that was so good. That is something actually I want to shout out because I was kind of thinking about it when I was going back here looking through the Jubilee stuff. One of the things that I love that they did this year is they finally took the feedback of adding in decorations to the world when there was an event going on. To me,
was that just this year?
Yeah, so last year, last year they had ones for New Life, I think, and for Hollowjack, but not for the other events. At least not that I remember. And then this year, like the Jubilee event had new garland. They gave away new furnishings and stuff for the Undaunted events. They started to add new things in that were earnable, or that you could get out of the boxes that were furnishings. So I think they really did strive to try and take some of the feedback of it's not just, people don't want just materials and style pages. Like they want to earn other things, and we want the world to feel lived in. And to me, that was some pretty strong feedback that I felt like they took to heart, at least it seems like it, for 2024. So I hope that continues.
All of the Undaunted furnishings. I never looked at a guide for those, and I'm still finding new ones at vendors and stuff. Mm-hmm. Those were so well done. They nailed those. Yeah. Those are all of the weapons and monster things that for furnishings that I've been looking for. Yep. Those were so well done.
I loved them. I loved the troll head with the ivy on it. All that stuff is great. I think they did it's nice to feel like it's worth repeating stuff or doing stuff if you're getting something small and new like that, right? New Life, there hasn't I can't say there hasn't been too much for me that's made me want to do it. There has been. I've been doing stuff and getting some furnishings and whatnot, but Undaunted was one of those ones that I'm like, ooh, I really want to get some of these furnishings because they're very different. They feel very different. So I liked that. I liked that a lot.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you on New Life. New Life has definitely turned into that. It's just my catch-up to make sure I can get the end of the year morphable if it's something I actually want.
Yeah. I wish they would do more with it a little bit in terms of that.
Yeah. And I just kind of do the old life quest once a day because I'm just still hoping to see different ghosts.
Yeah.
Or confirm some characters are truly dead by seeing their ghost.
Oh, that would be, that would be an interesting way to do that. They'd have to somehow gate that behind, your quest progress. But any main characters, or even some of the smaller characters in quest lines that, you have to help a captain in the middle of the battle, the captain dies. Like, you see that captain as a ghost. That'd be kind of cool.
I feel so bad because there's one ghost I've only seen 2 ghosts this new life or old life, whatever, and one of them I don't even remember.
Oh no.
I feel so bad. They're probably from base game, and they're probably from the Dominion, and it's been a minute, and I don't remember them, and I feel bad because it's this ghost, and they're showing themselves to me, and I don't even know who they are.
Uh-oh. Ruh-roh.
I need to go play through the Dominion storyline again.
Yeah, that's a goal of mine for this next year on my PC account, is I want to hit some of the base game zones again, because I really feel like I did it either so long ago on PlayStation, or I did rush through a few of the zones because I was trying to catch up with friends. And it was like, okay, how many quests can I knock out today? And I didn't really absorb anything. And also, I'm going to be honest, it was before I knew as much lore as I know now. So there were a lot of things that I'm sure that I missed that weren't as prevalent to me or didn't stick out as much to me as they would now. So I would like to go back and have like a fresh perspective on a lot of that stuff, you know?
Yeah, especially because we've been around since like the beginning. There's just so much that's been it's been a minute.
Yeah, I can remember plowing through a lot of the base game stuff. I mean, I didn't necessarily rush through it, but I was a lot more I guess, intent on clearing zones. For a while, I was trying to do every little side quest I came across. I was like, let me just focus on main zone stuff. And now I'm so far behind on completing any of the new zones, and I haven't even done Cadwell's Gold. I think I did Silver, but I haven't done Gold yet. So yeah, I've got so much of that to get back through.
I have come to enjoy getting stuff like the Legacy of the Bretons or Portals of Oblivion events, where it lets us revisit old zones, because that gives people a chance to finish those daily achievements. So you don't necessarily have the FOMO at the beginning of a new chapter to get them done when the zone is filled.
So, speaking of that really quick, not to totally set us off on a tangent, but do you think that's what we're going to be moving towards if we're doing seasonal content? I feel like it could end up being a very similar sort of situation, not as an event, quote unquote, but like a focus for that amount of time or whatever in this area, I think will lend to it in a very similar way. Because I was going to say, I've very much enjoyed when the zones get refilled with people going back to do stuff as well. And I'm hoping, or my hope is that some of this new content model may do that for us in some ways.
That's what I'm hoping for too.
Cool.
It will make the world feel more lived in by having more people spread out and go to different places.
Go ahead, Never.
I was just going to say, I think there's a good chance that, just based on what they said, that that is kind of some of the things they have in mind.
Yeah. I wonder if they saw... Oh, man, now we're just speculating. But I was going to say, I wonder if some of these events like that, like Legacy of the Bretons and stuff, they saw kind of the uptick in certain types of content and things like that. And it also gave them a base for, like, you know, return on investment, I guess you could say, like for the zone. Versus some of the base game zones that need more love. Although if the base game zone's getting graphics updates, I'm also hopeful for that it will make those kind of freshened up a little bit and let people want to go back there. So anyway.
So I know we want to move on.
Yep.
But to finish up our events, I'm gonna go with the Crafters Celebration was confusing.
Yeah.
That was it, like ultimately it was good. It was a good thing to have. But the implementation of it was confusing. Yeah,
the maps that having the double drops, but only from the maps that were produced during the event, stuff like that, was a little messy, a little confusing. I think they could do that again, but they need to be much more clear in either how their article is written explaining it, or what the what the in-game quote-unquote tutorial or quest giver or whatever is for that particular event.
Or both.
Or yeah, or both.
Because not everyone looks at the website.
That's very true. That's very true.
But yeah, that was the last event I really wanted to touch on. Any others stick out to you guys that you want to cover?
No, not really that I can think of off the top of my head, which probably means that in like 20 minutes one will come to me that I would have wanted to talk about, but for now, no.
Well, you have a couple seconds, because I do, since we just kind of like bantered on about cosplay, I do want to circle back and talk about Amsterdam a little more, and just cover on how, like, the venue was good, the choices were good, the music was good, how they had the voice actors there was awesome, and that was just great. Because I was rushing to get my I was doing my Daedric calligraphy, and so I was skipping the voice actor panel, which, if you remember Vegas, when they had Wes Johnson on stage doing that voice actor panel, yeah, no, I understand why those aren't broadcast, because, yeah, same thing. I walked in, I finished, and I walked into the voice act, listened to the thing, and I'm like, yep, okay, moving on. But
Pretty
then
wild.
I accidentally ended up being at the beginning of near the beginning of the line for the sightings, so that was great. I could not understand people being towards the end of that line. That was ridiculous. That's when you actually got to like realize how many people were in that room. But I still need to finish those drawings. Oh my gosh. Okay, sorry, brain squirrel. I still have to finish those drawings.
Yeah, let's talk about really quick how many people were there. When we
There was a lot.
When we went to Vegas, it was about just around 200 people. When you went to Amsterdam, I think I remember hearing that the number was over 2,000 people. Was that right?
I don't know. I honestly don't know, but it was a lot of people.
It was a lot of people.
There was not seats for everyone.
That is a massive uptick in attendance. Now, whether that was intentional, accidental, whatever, that's massive.
Well, it's probably partially intentional because venue size, because the max they could have at the Pyramid versus the Sugar Factory are two very different crowds.
Yeah, I agree. It was just, like, I was thinking about that, and then I was thinking to myself, okay, if they had gone through with the 2025 US event, where the heck would they have had it? Because it either they would have had to limit tickets, like, hardcore, or they would have had to have figured out a giant venue just like that again. So on one hand, I'm kind of like, I wonder if the return on how much they would have had to put into it wouldn't have been as much. But man, I don't know. I was just thinking about the size difference between the two events and how crazy it was.
Yeah, it was massive, absolutely massive. And then the loot was amazing. The loot that you got from it was, I would personally say, worth the ticket price. I still haven't put my honor in the game yet. I might just be saving that code for something else, for something special, but who knows.
Yeah, I'm jealous of the bag.
Because I don't run around with pets, but like the pins that you got were hefty and they were special. Like you could see the 3D, like you could use a filter app thing and it would be like 3D and it would say welcome, and it would say welcome to whatever you belong here thing, right? And that was cool. Also, minor gripe. Like these pins were so hefty. They came on your lanyard, and they were so hefty that I just wore my cosplayer lanyard the whole time instead because it was just so heavy. It hurt. I did not like it. But the loot was great. Honor is awesome. my little golden guar plushie. The bag was very well made. The shirt's great. The shirt was good. Like the whole loot thing, and then that's just the door loot. That's just what you got with the ticket, besides like the activities and stuff. But then at the end of the activities, you had a chance to win other things, and those varied. Like you could win things from Call to Arms, you could win event exclusive loot, you could win these silly keycaps, which I ended up just giving all to the foxes, and then Peanut because cries in console. I think that's what I said at the time. But if you have a PC that has a regular keyboard, cool, good for you. The loot was good. The activities were all fun. How they were implemented was an entire cluster. Not any problem on like the events part or anything. I feel like we should have got a heads up on how the events were being done, because like on how they were gonna do the events, because that was. I'm just really glad that I'm observant, or otherwise we probably would have not been able to sign up for the events when we did. But yeah, that's probably my only gripe on the events. But they were fun when you got to do them. You got the keychains that we got to make. That was fun. Little leatherworking activity.
Mine's on my desk. I'm looking at it right now.
The calligraphy, got to learn how to write in Daedric with a calligraphy fountain pen. And then there were photo ops. It was a fun time. It was definitely a good event, but it was very large scale. I did not do the dance. There was that one guy from Trivium who was doing the singing and stuff. I could hear him sing, but I was doing drunk painting. And that was fun.
Amazing. Priorities.
Well, it was the only time I could sign up for the painting tutorial. And so me and my sister were doing the painting tutorial, and you could still hear the music. It was so loud. I'm glad we actually weren't in that room because it was just so loud. But you got alcohol, you could paint, and there was the painting tutorial, and then there was I think they were just given. The person was doing random questions, trying to do like random trivia, but it was the sugar factory employees, and so they're just like pointing at the wall, going, "And who's this person?" And it's like, raise your hand. First person gets it right gets it. It was a fun time. So yeah, there we go. Now I'm just babbling again, reliving it in my own mind. But we can move on. I've babbled enough. If you remembered anything, speak now.
Not other than what you've said. It was pretty detailed there. I like it.
All right. Well, then we can move on to our other portions.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what did we think of this year's dungeons?
Okay, I loved them. Oathsworn.
What do you love about them?
They were just great. I don't know. Bedlam Vale and Oathsworn Pit, I thought were both great. Like, I liked Bedlam Vale because it kind of gave you the Maelstrom vibes. It was a demi-realm, like, you know, it was just really, really cool. I thought to see Fanuit Hen in there was interesting again. So I liked that the mechanics changed. I don't know. I just thought it was a really fun kind of blend of a lot of previous arena, dungeon sort of type scenario things. An Oathsworn Pit I thought was pretty great too. That's the one that was the training ground, like the Malakath training ground one. And I thought that was pretty cool. So,
is Bedlam Vale the one with all of the portals?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Where you keep kind of having to portal around to different areas in the map.
Yep.
Okay. I'm bad with remembering the names of some of them. A lot of them I haven't done very many times, but Um, that one's cool. Just the characters are fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, the little Bosmer, not Bosmer, Daedra, who pretends to be a Bosmer, who runs Maelstrom. Yeah. He said he was bad with names, so I was just trying to make it easy. Who runs Maelstrom? It's another part of his realm that he's the one you're helping out in there. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of what the other two. Oh, Bal Sunnar. That was this year, right? I think Bal Sunnar was this year. That's the one where you go back and you see the red year and all that stuff. And then what was the other one?
Did we do that one?
Bal Sunnar?
Yeah.
I think so. Oh, well, I've done it. I thought we did it together. What is the other one? There's Oathsworn Pit. Sorry, I'm going through the list. Eldenroot Enclave was last year. Aerie was last year. Or a couple years ago. Gosh, what is it? What came along with Bal Sunnar?
So, according to the internet, it was just Oathsworn Fit and Bedlam Vale this year.
Oh, so Bal Sunnar was... Oh, you're right. Bal Sunnar would have been Necrum.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. I kept thinking we had... I forgot because normally the other quarter where we would get... It would have been Q3 that would have had dungeons, but we didn't do that because we did quality of life stuff.
Yes.
I forgot.
So what did you think of the quality of life that we got? Is your life quality improved?
I guess. I don't know. Wait, let me think about this. Was this year the year of the... This year was the year of the, tables, right? The, master...
Oh,
the master tables?
Grandmaster tunables?
Yeah.
Oh my god, we get to get the tables.
Yeah. Or was that last year? Grandmaster crafting stations.
I feel like that was last year.
It was
announced last year.
I think it was announced last year.
I don't know if we got this year, but
it was announced in November of last year.
Then we probably at the beginning of this year.
Yeah. Introduced in update 40. So that would have been, we're on 44, right? Yeah, we're in 44. So yeah, they would have been at the beginning or whatever of last year, I think. But yeah, that was a big, nice addition. Other than that, it was just them working on other stuff, I think, to prep for kind of what we got with Battlegrounds and whatnot, which, yeah, I mean, I think the Battlegrounds update's been a little polarizing this year. It was either you really liked it or you didn't really like it, and there wasn't much middle ground, in my opinion.
Yeah, because we got our Battlegrounds update, we got home tours, we got Golden Pursuits,
which I did like those. I really like the Golden Pursuits. I like the home tours.
We got two new. We got the Fire and Ice in the Infinite Archive.
Yep, I like that.
Well, scribing was technically part of the new chapter, so we won't count that. That's a chapter portion.
I say we talk about scribing in a second, but yeah, the archive update I did really like, actually. And I liked that there's more variety in there now.
And ESO is now also playable on Steam Deck. That was another new thing for this year.
Yep. It was finally like, you could always play it on Steam Deck, but it's finally now like whatever it is, like not licensed, but you know what I'm saying. It's the...
You don't need to do any weird loop arounds. Yeah, it is now an official choice.
It's an official thing. Yes. I liked the housing tours stuff. I think that came out really nice.
I am obsessed with the housing tours. Obsessed. There is so much implementation you can use for that. It is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right, Moki. Additional item curation, too. There was additional item curation for trials and stuff, right? Because that wasn't a thing before. So I think that happened this year. Yeah, there was some sort of additional item curation that was added as well, and that was, I think, also a really nice update. So
Oh,
I
you
think,
mean
Isn't that the thing for like public dungeons where you're able to like get your drop now?
Yep.
Your one guaranteed daily drop for
Yep.
your fragments.
Yep. So it's one of those things where it feels like there was nothing. This is gonna sound bad the way I say this, but I don't mean it to sound bad. There's nothing truly so memorable that it stuck out when you just asked me about quality of life that I went like, yes, that, I remember that. I was really excited for that. But then there also, it's not that there wasn't quality of life done, because we've just rattled off a bunch of different things that were all really important and made a big difference. But
the whole, yes.
Yeah, but on the whole, like, if I step back and look at the year, I had to think about that for a minute, right? There was nothing that I was like, got it, it's this. So
yeah. It's one of those, if there isn't a problem, you aren't going to notice it. And because these problems and patches and things are being fixed, you're not going to notice it. So you're not going to think about it.
Yep.
They're just all moving along. There's no big issues with it. But that's what the whole point of quality of life is, there isn't an issue.
Correct. I agree. So I think there was a lot of good stuff. Yeah. Yeah, Moki. And you can fill your sticker book better because the things you're missing are dropping. No more grinding for daggers. That's right. No more grinding for weird stuff in arenas.
Wait, didn't that happen like last year or a year ago or a year or two ago? The full-on item curation?
Yes, actual item curation was brought into the game a while back, but they added additional curation for certain things that didn't drop, or for certain... Item curation was not across the board initially, I don't think.
Okay.
There was something that it got added to, and I can't remember what it is. I feel like it was the dailies for trials or something along those lines.
Was it Overland or something too?
No, I think they had that. I thought. Maybe. I don't know, but there was like an addition to it, basically, if I remember correctly. So, yeah. What'd you think of... this is unfortunately not... Well, maybe never has done it. The trial, Lucent Citadel. What did you think about the trial? I have been in Lucent Citadel, but it was at the end of a Tipsy Trials group that I got pulled into, and it was a very quick run where I did not really do the story and didn't get to absorb anything.
It was a pile.
Wow.
And I mean that in the best way possible. So since you haven't run Lucent Citadel, I'm going to try to help you paint a picture so you can follow along with my favorite part of this trial. There was a dungeon that we did together a while back. What? Oh my gosh, I think it actually was Scrivener's Hall. Where you're running through and we're fighting that giant dwarven spider and then you gotta keep running, right? Right, that's Scrivener's Hall?
Is that the one that's where you run in a circle at the end of it?
No,
there's
not that one. That's the base game dungeon. She means the one where you like burn the wall, and you run through, and a spider follows you, and then you finally end up on this platform at the end.
Yeah. Okay.
That is pretty much what happens at the end of Lucent Citadel as well. It's like a mixture of that and Chaos Ball, because someone has to pick up the ball and you have to stay with them and you have to get through everything, and it makes you focus, it makes you go, it makes you pay attention and follow. It's not just the same old, all right, we're gonna kill some trash mobs, all right, we're in the next room, we're gonna kill this, we're gonna burn this boss, you gotta follow this mechanic, blah 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 blah. I mean, like, that's in there, you gotta follow mechanics or you're gonna die, that's the thing. But if it wasn't a thing, it wouldn't really be a trial, right? But when you finish the trial, it's like, wait, we're still doing the mechanic, but we're back in like the waiting room portion of the trial. What the heck? It just it keeps you going right up until the end of it, and I thought that was awesome. And I also appreciated how it loops back around into old content and like adds to the characters who were already there, because you have it's basically Scrivener's Hall related, and so it's like solidifying the space that we initially had as just a dungeon is an actual place in the world that is used for other things rather than just a run in and kill stuff and move on, because it pulls it back in as a story point. I loved it. It was a really fun thing. It was a really fun trial.
Yeah. So without spoiling anything, the time that I ran it, because it was a group of lore seekers and it was in the middle of the night and it was a tipsy trial, they pulled me in and then they said, "Oh, hey, Bacon, go over there and pick that up." And I was like, "What am I doing?" And they're like,
"Of course they did.
Just pick it up." So I picked it up and then I was like, "Ow, why is this hurting so bad?" And they're like, "You better run."
They would do that to you, wouldn't they?
They sure would. And I'm like, "Where am I going? What am I doing?" And they're like, "Just keep going. You're fine." I'm like, "What am I doing?" So I know that arcane knot or whatever it was in my possession. And I know what happened when I put it back. But do I know anything else? Not a whole lot.
So they turned you into Dory. Just keep swimming.
Yeah, pretty much. Just keep running. Just keep running. Just keep running, running, running. Burn a crystal. Run, 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 run. Ignore the boss. Run, 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 run.
Yep. But I will say, something that I will say about the trial is it was pretty.
It was. Overall, like, 9 out of 10 stars. I feel like they could have added in another lore book or two there to explain some more things.
Yeah.
But I did read all the lore in there, so that's why I'm saying that. Otherwise, it was good. Probably actually more so one of my favorite trials.
Nice. That's awesome.
I don't know what my top trial is, but it's definitely more so one of my favorite trials.
Yeah, that's a toughie.
I like it keeps you. I really liked that it keeps you engaged in the world building. That really stuck out to me.
Mm-hmm. All right, I say we move on and let the cat go with scribing, because he is probably out of the three of us the one that's actually done the most with scribing, because he's running one of the skills currently.
Yeah, Cat, tell us all about that fancy banner that makes me cringe every time you roll with it.
Well, I was gonna clarify something first. In addition, or in regards to the item curation, it was update 43, and they expanded item curation to monster sets acquired by Undaunted keys, weekly trial coffers, leaderboard coffers, and Imperial City monster mask coffers.
Oh, so that was around the time of the last Undaunted event.
Yes, yeah. That's right. That's
excellent.
Right. I knew it had something to do with trials or like drops from the dailies, but I couldn't remember which specific ones it was.
Yep. Okay, so yeah, I have a couple of scribing skills. I'm also using the shield throw, and I was using something else, but I think I've taken it off. I don't remember. So I need to look at how I have them set up. I don't have enough of the different things unlocked for it, so I'm kind of limited in what I'm actually able to do. But I have let's see, the banner. I have Sundering Banner, so I have it set up to increase martial damage by 6%, reduce Reduces my health, magicka, and stamina recovery by 33%. Heals for 957 health every 2 seconds, and grants minor resolve, increasing physical and spell resistance by 2974. So I just put that on just to kind of be just because of the goofy build I'm running. It just adds a few little extra buffs there, as well as adding those to the group. But anyway, the system as a whole, I think, has a lot of potential. Because I have not unlocked enough of the things yet. I haven't been able to experiment as much as I'd like. That, and I think that they've talked about possibly adding that into the build, the armory system. That'll help. The luminous ink thing, which it's not too bad. They've increased, the ability to get those, I believe, but it would be nice to be able to not have to spend those when they're not quite as numerous as other things are. Every time you want to just try out a different skill, or if you could just spend it once to unlock that and then be able to save it in an armory build, whatever. But I think it has a lot of potential. Would be in adding certain types of damage to certain types of skills that maybe we don't have as much access to. One of which, because of the build I'm running, I tried to kind of focus on bash damage, and so I'm using a lot of heavy armor, a lot of things to increase resistances, because bash damage scales off of, instead of your damage stats, it scales off of armor and maybe max health. I don't remember for sure. But there's not a lot of things that say they do bash damage. So being able to scribe more skills, or just if they add more skills and have the ability to make them do bash damage, I think there's a lot of good potential in that system for that. But I don't know that it's quite there yet. A lot of the stuff is very kind of niche and more of and which is by design. I think it's intended to be sort of complementary more so than here's your new meta skills. But I don't know that I think maybe they could make some of those things a little better so that they do find their way into more people's builds. The banner seems to be fairly popular from what I've seen, just because it's an additional group buff that you can get, and have some flexibility with. But yeah, I'd like to see some more options with different types of skills. But they've already added new stuff to that, so I think we'll see more of that coming. Future updates, or at least hopefully. I mean, with the way they're going to be doing things going forward, I don't know how that stuff fits into those plans, but I would assume that it, periodically works its way into those updates too. But there's some cool little, just for flair, like the ability that you just send your mount charging at things, and you can set it to where if you have a random mount, whichever one you got on last, is the one that it throws out. So if you mount and dismount a lot and are constantly changing mounts, and every time you send your mount charging into enemies, it's a different one. So it just, it makes for, I guess, a little more variety, at least in kind of your more basic questing builds, or whatever you might want to call them, if you just want something different to play with. So overall, I think it was a very good addition, that we hopefully can look forward to them doing, a good bit more with.
Yeah, did you think that the quest going along with it and all of that stuff was a good practice, or do you think that they could have Like, what were your thoughts on... We obviously know it was a grind. That was tough. They did help with that a little bit with the inks and whatnot. But, like, what about the quest introduction into it? Did you like that?
Do you mean with the different... what do they call them? Oh my gosh.
Illuminaries. The Luminaries.
The Luminaries.
Those quests were fun. I'm not sure. Some of this may just come from me just being in a place in life like IRL that it's harder for me to do as many time-consuming things. So for people that have time, it probably it's probably good for them. So this is just coming from my perspective. Take that for what it's worth. Maybe things like I don't know that I necessarily want to have to do a big long quest line for something like that, like just for some skills, or for this. I think I might rather see quest lines associated with individual types of skills. Maybe, for example, if they're going to add in new Undaunted skills, new Fighters Guild skills, then make that part of, add some new skill or some new quest lines to the Mages Guild, and by doing that, you unlock those things. I guess maybe kind of akin to how they did the Psijic skill line, although that is also very grindy.
I mean, sorry for your ears, but yeah, no, I'm pretty sure everyone agrees.
Yeah, I don't mean make it as grindy as that is, but just in terms of you want access to a new set of skills, go do things for the associated guild. But I much prefer unlocking the various skills within those skill lines through usage of the skills themselves. When you use your class skills, by using those, you have those unlocked, so you're leveling that up, so you unlock the next one. Maybe some kind of a combination of that. But I mean, the quests with the Illuminaries, they were fun quests. The little fox thing was a lot of fun because he's silly.
The Lil Mathit?
Yeah, he's.
That is not a little fox. That fox is huge. My wood elf could use that fox as a mount.
Well, it wasn't an entire group that has disappeared, so it's kind of think like the fox version of an Alfiq.
Yeah. But that character was funny, and some of the others were funny. Some of them were kind of but the quest line was okay. It felt a little long to finally be able to actually do the scribing stuff. But yeah, I mean, maybe if there's a shorter quest line for something like that, maybe I don't know. But again, that's coming from someone who just it's finding it harder and harder to find time to actually sit down and go through those things. And so I worry that for me personally, if things are going to take 10 to 15 hours, just or whatever the time frame is for some of that stuff, and it might have been a lot shorter, I don't remember, but if it's going to take even 8 to 10 hours just for one little thing like that, it's like I may not ever actually get around to finishing it, because it's just if I could do that, or I could go do fill in the blank other thing, or if I do this, I may not get around to finishing the zone, because by the time I'm done with that, the next zone comes out, and that's just kind of the cycle that I find myself in personally. But
well, you don't have to worry about this year because we're not getting another zone.
Yeah, that's true.
We might get multiple little zones. You don't know.
But as to the quality of the of what they did, I think the quality was pretty decent. I think they did a good job with it. Yeah. And I do think the scribing system, like I said, I think there's a lot of cool things they could do with it. I'd like to see them add more. That's one of the things I thought of. It's like I really wish I had more bash skills, so I could make this bash build something that's a little more unique instead of, oh, I have one power slam and everything else is just, skills everybody else uses for fill in the blank other things. It would be nice to have a little more variety with, um, to make a heavy armor kind of DPS build. I know that won't be as good, shouldn't be as good because it's got more survivability. I get the balance thing there, but at least have some more options for some of that stuff. And I think the scribing system's a good way to do it.
I guess I had the opposite experience. I spent more time on the scribing storyline than the actual main storyline for Gold Road because it was just actually longer. Like, I sat through the dialogue for both of them. I did sit through the dialogue for both stories, but I spent more time doing the scribing than the Gold Road just because, yeah, it was longer and there was more lore and there were notes everywhere and more notes would pop up and they were fun to read and you just go through and you read the notes as you unlock more storyline in this. I was grateful that it was long because with Gold Road, like the main story for Gold Road, you just blink and it's gone. It's over. That was such a fast storyline. I was kind of disappointed. So the scribing storyline was actually the highlight of the year for me, honestly. It was once again another one of those. It got people asking questions about like the Grey March and Sheogorath and how long and times and different types of magic and everything. Got people asking a lot of questions, which was cool. It also more so solidified more things in the world, and it took some characters that no spoilers. You normally don't think of. They're kind of offhanded, and then it gives them this giant storyline. It's a very well done. I liked it. Also, the one thing that I was concerned about, the ink, I'm not concerned about anymore because the one problem that I foresaw with it was people wanting to change colors of their skills. You don't need ink to change colors of your skills. So, of course, I haven't actually done anything with the actual scribing system yet. I'm just hoarding all of the materials until I have enough to do it all at once. So, yeah. What about you, Crazy?
I liked scribing. I did... Well, I need to finish, actually, the one last Luminary. But I did collect just through doing all of my dailies and all of the Miramore incursions and stuff. I basically fully collected all the stuff that you could get from there. And I'm working on a second set over on PC because of just doing dailies and whatnot. So I very much liked the quest line. I liked the luminaries themselves. It is definitely a grind. I have not scribed one skill yet, though, because I haven't finished it. But
you had to have scribed one skill. When you unlock the altar, it makes you scribe a skill.
Okay. Yes, that. But I mean, I haven't done anything or built anything into a build yet. Let's put it that way.
Yeah,
So
I haven't either.
this is one of those things that, like, I was really, really excited for it. And then when I found myself here, it was like, yeah, that was pretty cool. But I didn't, like, go out of my way to like, do it, if that makes sense. I mean, I did. I wanted to get the lore perspective and all that stuff on it. But I haven't gone so far out of the way to actually, like, intentionally change my builds to work around scribing. Now, some of that is probably because I'm not really gosh, what is it called? I'm having a brain fart because it's 12:45 a.m. for me.
Meta chaser?
Not even meta chaser. Like people who build stuff and test stuff, you know?
Theory crafter?
Theory crafting. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you. So I don't theory craft as much with my builds. I tend to not have time for that, unfortunately. So because of that, I haven't really played with scribing more. But I do genuinely want to complete it at some point soon. I also have had an extremely busy second half of year, so that's contributed to it as well. Between doing stuff for the guild and the shows and, you know, everything else, it's been really busy and a lot of real life stuff that was happening with family and whatnot. So that was one of those things that unfortunately got put a little bit on the back burner for me. But I still think it was a fantastic addition. It's just, I feel like it hit really hard when it first came out and everybody was really excited about it. And then it's just kind of been quiet ever since. Which, you know, did it land well with the audience? I think it landed okay. Personally, I'm not sure that it landed as fully as or as big as the way that they wanted it to, but I do see a lot of people running scribed skills, so there's got to be quite a few people out there who are doing it.
Yeah, I think the fact that none of these skills in the scribing skill set are as good as what you can just get from other skills plays into some of that.
Yeah, I think they had to be careful not to make it too overpowered, but also
Sure.
it would be nice if they did a couple more things.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like they don't need to be the new best thing that if you don't use this, you're not doing it right. But you also need some incentive to use that over something else. If you're offering this buff through this skill, but it doesn't do as much damage as this other skill that does more damage but gives me the same buff and also uses less stamina or whatever, then why am I using the scribe skill? So I think there's some tuning that could be done to make some of those skills feel a little bit more viable. And then just through, like I said, through time, add some new things in there that kind of shake things up a little bit. But I think they have a good base. I just think it needs work.
Yeah, and honestly, if they're going to no chapters, again, an opportunity to mess with this a little bit more, potentially for the devs if they want to. So who knows? Well, I just have to wait and see.
Yep.
Just have to wait and see. Did we get everything for the year? Did we miss anything?
We talked about the dungeons, the trial, the... What? You guys haven't played the chapter quest.
Well, no, but let me tell you, I haven't finished it, but I did play a lot of it, and no spoilers here, but I personally love the zone. Like, if we just want to talk about Westfield in general, I think that's a great thing to do real quick. I love the zone. I love the visuals of the zone. The music was fantastic. Sound effects to me were great. Just the overall feel of Westfield I thought was pretty good. But I'm a big ambience nerd, right? So I love that stuff. And I love being able to go back to Skingrad. The stuff that also stuck out to me that was really, really beautiful is all of the Wood Elf stuff that they added in as well that ties into the storyline. I love seeing the half grown Snugpods. I love, all of that zone towards the west side of the map. I thought was very interesting, and what I have seen from Athelia and from the other stuff also intrigued me as well. So I personally liked this chapter. I liked the visuals of everything. I liked what I have done so far in the quest line. So for me, this one landed nicely, personally, for myself. I also like the new incursions. I like the Miramore incursions. I think they're cool.
Have you tried running one by yourself?
Well, no, because I know better.
Okay.
So, yeah. But I definitely enjoyed the overall chapter update for me personally, even though I haven't finished.
Okay. Never, would you like to go next?
I haven't done the quest. I've ran around in the zone just a little bit. I agree. I think seeing the half-grown Snugpods is kind of neat. I think it would be cool to be able to grow my own. But,
That would be really cool.
yeah, like have that as a thing you can add into your other houses if you wanted. Like if you just want to put a Snugpod in any house you have, like that'd be pretty sweet. Even if it's the ones similar to the
I want a Snugpod hotel now.
like the one we're in that you can just walk through. That's not a one that you have to go into and go out of. Like you just walk through it.
Snugpod hotel. I'm dying.
Yeah. But I don't have a lot to add other than that.
So I'm biased because autumn's my favorite season, and I was really happy that we got another place that wasn't just the Rift for autumn.
Thank goodness.
So I have another place to just hang out, which is great, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And I find myself instinctively avoiding the blue azure, like the blue wildburn area, just because like my eyes go, oh, there's blue there. We're just not gonna walk there now.
Yeah, the wildburn is pretty wild.
It took me forever to get to that part of the map. I had everything unlocked, and I'm like, what am I missing? It's because I was just kept walking around the Wildberg.
Okay, that's the area that when you go in there, like, everything changes, right?
Mm-hmm. It's all blue and dead.
Yeah, that was pretty wild.
The wandering bosses and stuff were fun, too. Like I said, the quest felt short. I did like all of the side quests. The side quests were fun. You got to meet some nice characters. And then there were the weird achievements where, like, dancing with the puppet and finding the different wells and, like, all of the weird little, like, achievements that add character to the area. Those were fun. Also, okay, so my absolute favorite part, this is me nerding out for a second, favorite part about this zone is the inn in Skingrad. Because you look at that inn, you look at the map, and you look at the inn, and you go in the inn, and it is the same inn that is in Oblivion. And if you talk to the bartender, she goes, this place has stood for 1,000 years, and if we take good care of it, it will stand for 1,000 more.
You're
and it's the exact
right.
same inn, but instead of it being all wood paneled on the inside in Oblivion, it's stone paneled, so they took good care of it, and that's just me nerding out for a second there. I loved it. That is my favorite part about the whole zone, is that inn. Also, the bard that sings in there, gorgeous. If you sit there and sing, they sing about Sai Sahan and the Battle of Leyawiin and everything, and that's probably one of my favorite songs in the game.
That's awesome.
I love that inn so much. That is my favorite inn. Yeah. Because initially I was like, ugh, Colovians, right? They're only like just barely above the Longhouse Emperors. It's just like, ugh, the barbarians, ugh, the Colovians. And I have learned so much about different like types of Imperials and their like the class hierarchy and how things work this year, just from like playing, because I ended up playing Oblivion because I was curious and all this, and just because it adds more Colovian besides the Gold Coast. It was great. But yeah, no, that inn is my favorite part. I will forever rave about that inn. The design job and how they implemented all that, amazing.
Yeah, I love when they do stuff like that, where you can see the like, oh, this is going to look like this in the future. If you've seen this in another game, here you go. You know, they've done that a few times, and I love it. I love it. And I love when people catch on to it, because then it's like, yes! So, I love that.
So you're saying that the inn looks like the same inn in the game Oblivion?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. It is. It's the same inn.
So, right. But it's been remodeled a bit with the stone instead of wood.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. On the inside, they upgraded it.
So when we get this Oblivion remaster that they're rumored to be getting ready to announce soon.
Don't say that for the poor Sky Oblivion people.
I wonder if we'll have a wood panel or or stone in that.
It would be stone because it's Oblivion.
Yep.
Just in the Skyrim engine.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, I just tangent. Sorry, go ahead. You were gonna say?
No, I was going to say the one thing I do want to shout out, this chapter brought us one of the best crafting spots ever, in my opinion.
Oh,
one of the best places
gosh.
to do your writs ever. It's this nice little loop. You can drop off right at the end. Writs are done in like 2 minutes flat.
Right?
There...
Like, I know I say this every chapter, but I think Skingrad is my favorite city in this game now. And I know I say that every chapter.
Nope, it's one of my favorite too. I find myself frequenting between Skingrad and Leowen. Like
But
Blackwood.
I don't think they can make another city that will out Skingrad for me, because you have the inn right there. You have the bank right there, you have a merchant right there, you have your dailies right there, you have a way shrine right there, you have your world dailies right there, and every time I see that castle, I feel for that elf. I can't believe I wasted, 2-3 hours trying to, help that elf, and then he tries to kill me. God damn it. But, sorry. Every time.
Oh my.
But, that is just such a good city. And it's pretty. It's pretty. Don't get me wrong, Somerset was my favorite for convenience until we got Skingrad. But now Skingrad's my favorite because I don't like the white marble. I've never liked the white marble, and Skingrad is easier on the eyes.
So is there a banker outside?
No, but the banker's right by there. The banker doorway. And since load screens basically are non-existent now, it's
it's
fine.
like with a PS5, what do you care about a door for?
Right? What's a door?
I don't know. I mean, there's probably some people. I know that's one of the reasons you like Vivek City, right? Because the banker is right outside. Here's the thing. I don't hardly use my banker. I mean, that's not true. I use my banker that's on my hotbar. I don't use the banker at the bank, typically.
See, I've been using the banker at the bank a lot more recently, especially because of all the events we've been getting with all the boxes, because I get a lot of those extra things and extra stuff and extra pages, and there's some guilds I'm in where they're just like, yep, put your stuff in the bank for guildies to use. And I'm like, yep, have at it.
That is one thing that I would like is guild bank access from our bankers that we have, like our personal bankers. But I do use the regular bank for that, like you just mentioned. But yeah.
That's why I like having the banker outside.
Yeah.
Because I occasionally run around. That's one of the first places I hit for checking guild traders, because there's all of the normal traders that are outside, and then I can run right over to the bank and check the traders for the banks that are check the traders for the guilds that I'm in as well, because they're usually not in the same area. So that just increases the number of traders I can check without needing to travel to another zone. And then if I want to sell something, it's right there. So. But it's not a huge deal. That's just one of the big reasons for me that I've stayed there.
Right. True that. Well, there you go. That's kind of all I had to say. I just wanted to make sure that I capped it off with the shout out to the crafting area, because that was a big deal to me.
I'll need to go check that out. I haven't even looked at that.
It's gorgeous.
I don't ever even think to go look at the crafting areas once when I first started playing, I spent all my time doing crafting stuff in Ardon. Now I go back to I'm like, why did I do this? Everything's so spread out. It's stupid.
Oh God, I used to do it in Grahtwood. Grahtwood was my main, and I was like, why?
Valen Harbor.
It's because I like the tree. The tree's pretty.
Yep, I used to do it in Grahtwood and Valen Harbor.
I do like the tree. I'm surprised we don't have one of those trees as a player home yet.
A grotto?
Because that's a palace?
Yeah. And also, because technically the other great trees are the walking trees in Falinesti, so there's... I mean, not that there's a lore reason, but there's kind of a lore reason.
Yeah, we're not going to be seeing them anytime soon.
Hey, lore reasons, more reason. We weren't, we had that whole conversation about the scribing tables and why they, but they're in our houses now.
Yeah, rub it in. I know that's one of your favorite memories of 2024. The time that Gone Crazy was wrong about the scribing tables. The time that she said, for lore reasons, I don't think we'll ever get scribing tables outside of the Scholarium the very next week. And now, scribing tables will be available to you in the next patch outside of the Scholarium. Literally, word for word. And I was like, okay.
To be honest, I wasn't intending to say that, to rub that in. I was just more thinking, wouldn't be the first time that lore reasons did not keep us from getting a thing that they could, put in the store.
You're so right. I just, there's always the hope. But
now maybe there's lore and there's money.
Maybe we get
sounds like
season
a movie name, Lore and Money. Sorry.
Maybe, I don't know if I spelled that right, but maybe we get Season of the Falinesti, and then they bring us a walking house.
That would be wild. We have a boathouse. So why not?
Yeah. You can live in this walking tree. You can just... And that'll be the house that comes with a way shrine, because it just travels to wherever you want it to go.
That would be crazy.
No, you'd probably just end up parking at one of the Falinesti sites.
Yep.
You could get out at the way shrines there.
Yep.
So, back to that wall of crazy we were going to just hop on, because clearly we're there already.
Why not? Why not?
Unless there's anything else you guys want to cover in that review, because I think we got everything.
Yeah. Nothing comes to mind.
Did you just add those? Scribing season?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been adding those as we've gone on.
Season of the Ditch? What is that?
We'll get to that.
Okay, great. So, do you want to do your wall of crazy first, or should I do my wall of crazy that I have something to maybe back it up a little with?
Oh no! Let's let Never go first.
Well, I mean, just thinking about like different things they can do with seasons, and some of this I put in there kind of somewhat joking, and some of this maybe doesn't necessarily fall into wall of crazy, but while we were talking about the scribing thing, you mentioned maybe with the change to seasons, it gives the devs more time to work on changes to the scribing system. And I got to thinking, if they're going to introduce new quests and things like that, given the length of the scribing quest line, if they're just going to use existing zones for a lot of this stuff, something like a scribing quest could be fit into a season and still be a Gwen, you were saying it was longer than the main quest line. That at least gives you still several hours worth of stuff within a season to go do for its main quest. So that's less wall of crazy and just more. That was just a thought. The Season of the Falinesti was just because we were just talking about that. It just made me think, that another way bring in that. And I mentioned player home stuff, way shrines in the player homes, because that's something that would be handy, but I can see why they wouldn't do it, because it kind of incentivizes you to actually go out into the world to use those.
I mean, what do you mean by way shrines in the player home? Because to me, we already kind of have that, because you can travel inside or outside.
Yeah, especially with home tours now. That basically turns player homes into way shrines.
So being able to travel to any other way shrine from your house at no cost. So having an actual way shrine in your house.
That'd be
you
weird.
currently if you want to go to somewhere else in the world that's not a player home and you just travel there from your house, you have to pay to use the way shrine. But if you had a way shrine in your house, you wouldn't have to worry about that.
It's your wall of crazy. You do what you want with it.
I know. The Season of the Ditch. I just thought that sounded funny. That's all.
Oh.
I'm kidding. This might, maybe with them changing to seasons and having to revamp the way that they're doing content, will this be the year that they ditch last gen consoles?
That's a real good question. And
I mean, they can just say, we're not putting out full content anymore, so you've got everything that everybody has anyway.
Yeah.
Minus whatever seasonal. And technically, I guess if it's going to be in existing zones, that would still work. But then that allows for them to say any new major additions.
I cannot have a fully formed opinion on that until I know how the seasons are going to actually properly roll out.
Yeah, well, I'm not necessarily associating it directly to the seasons, but just at any point when they do put out any major content, they may want to do things with it that the old consoles don't have the memory for.
That's fair.
So they may say that you'll still get the seasonal updates. You'll still be able to do whatever stuff is in existing areas, but this new big zone that we're bringing out is going to have cool weather effects that we've always wanted to do, but we couldn't. Or it'll have the ability to do large scale raids on. I don't know. I mean, you can already tackle world bosses with lots of people. That kind of.
Give us back 24 people in voice chat and in a group.
They're working on it.
That is what killed our PlayStation lore seekers. When you could no longer have 24 people in a group at a time, that is what killed the PlayStation lore seekers, because we couldn't group up for anything anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So that that could be a thing there too.
Yep. That's Well, that is something they're working on. They've already said that in Matt's letter. He said that the goal is to get back to original, concurrency.
That was PV. That was Cyrodiil related.
In Cyrodiil, yeah.
Yes, concurrency in Cyrodiil. Not necessarily same group sizes for grouping in Cyrodiil.
No, he called out the 24-person groups. I'm pretty sure.
Does it say 24-person groups? Or did it mean having the same amount of people in at a time and having it busy as it was when the servers opened?
I think both. I think both things were mentioned. Hold on, I actually do have it right here. 1 second.
I think I recall there being something said about that too, but that could still. I mean, that could still be limited to just Cyrodiil. It may not. They may keep the PvE zones limited to 12. I mean, they can always separate the way that stuff works, the same way they do dungeons and archive, solo instances, and stuff like that. It's all based on where you're at.
Maybe it doesn't say it specifically. You're right. It does just say concurrency levels supported in 2014.
Yes, that's what it says.
If that has to do...
I know I heard that somewhere, though. Where did I hear that?
That might have been something that was a comment, maybe in the forums or something.
Maybe.
Or coming back to it. Maybe that was something
that might have been.
Because I do remember us bringing that up, but I don't remember if that was just us talking about it, or if that was actually something official.
I don't recall.
But yeah, I mean that's another example. Is the limitation to group sizes a memory issue that they can say, well, last gen consoles are just going to be stuck at using that. Current gen PC, whatever, will be able to use 24 and have access to fill in the blank new thing that the old systems can't handle.
Oh, but that could be such a problem then, because then if you have people who are in your group, then your group, if you have a last gen console in your group, they can't be a part of your group because that would limit you to 12 then instead of 24.
Yeah, they could never do that because it wouldn't allow... I don't think it would be possible from a anything's possible, I guess, from a development side, but I don't think from a server health, as well as, like Gwen said, how does it pick the groups? How does it know that? I don't think it would necessarily be fully realized or able to be realized.
I don't know. I have seen games do maybe not that exact thing, but similar, and that gets into you have cross play and you have cross gen, where some games support cross-gen and some don't. This one currently does, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they couldn't make some changes. So I don't know. Again, it's wall of crazy, but I could see us getting to a point, maybe not this next year, but and we've talked about it before, but with all of the changes that they've recently announced, is that something that takes load off of developers to not have to try to work things into memory for old consoles? Is that going to be something that they're like, is this really worth it for us anymore? I don't know. So, and I just called it Season of the Ditch, not because I think it is associated directly with seasons, but just playing with the word there. But this could be potentially. I could see this being a year that does come up.
All right, Crazy's turn. Crazy, get crazy.
Get crazy? Okay.
Yep.
Like I said, I haven't completed Westfield. However, this was something that I was discussing and deep diving with a few other lore seekers before we found out that there were not going to be chapters anymore. So bear with me, because some of it is based on more of a chapter footprint than anything else.
I made this board for you!
Yeah, some of this was based more on a chapter footprint than anything else. But I also, now it's been so long since I really was deep diving into a lot of it that there is definitely stuff that I've forgotten. So essentially, there is a moment with Razum Dar during, I believe it's during the last chapter. And like I said, I've not finished, so I cannot necessarily tell you exactly where it is, but I have seen some of the dialogue from people, spoken with a few lore seekers about it, stuff like that. And there's a couple different dialogue options. So one of the dialogue options, you ask him, like, where are you going, or what's next on the horizon for you? And he doesn't really say anything. He just kind of says, like, there's a lot of stuff going on. Like, I don't know. I'll be all over the place. That's not the exact words, of course. But, there's no real specific answer. And then the interesting thing is if you ask him again, you get a different response. And the response is something along the lines of, like, well, I hear there's an awful lot of stuff happening down in Black Marsh. And that had me kind of go like, well, we haven't done a whole lot of, well, we have done stuff down there, but it wouldn't surprise me if we went back and did a little visit with some Argonians in the Hist, because there's quite a bit of lore down there that's still left open. One of those things being Duskfall. So Duskfall is something that they don't really have. Well, it's like we don't really know what the decline of the Saxhleel civilization necessarily fully was. Like, Duskfall refers to the slow decline of that. There's not a whole lot known about the time period or what actually caused Duskfall. We know that Argonians communed with and had histories of their own. These are the Elder Argonians we're talking about here, and that a lot of Argonians of old were able to, like, directly communicate with the Hist. Like, that's kind of the stuff that we know. But there's also a lot that is not known. So yeah, I would, again, I'm not a lore expert on this. This is just kind of stuff that got me. I started looking around for things like, okay, what do we have that's kind of untouched, if you will, down there over in good old Black Marsh. And this was one of the things that came up. And it's pretty interesting to read about because it also has to do a lot, as we know, that the Argonians, Sithis and all that stuff that ties to them down there. So we also could have a tie-in with that, with Sithis. They've called out that there could be some Dark Brotherhood things or Mages Guild things. You know, we got that little call out in some of the information towards the end of the year here. Like, hey, we're not doing chapters, but it gives us the opportunity to revisit some other characters and some other things that we haven't touched in a while, like Dark Brotherhood, stuff like that. So I could see them doing some tie-ins with this sort of stuff because we also have the shadow scales. So I know Gwen's probably like dying right now at all the stuff that I'm talking about. But those are kind of some things that I just started to research and look up. Again, without having finished Westfield, I don't have a whole lot of extra information or things to go on. But just that little dialogue blurb from Roz really got me looking into a lot of things with Blackmarsh, and sort of that stuff there. There was also the theory that we kind of dove into a little bit, and we've discussed this on the show before, but didn't really get too much further with it. And I had one night that I was chatting in chat with Matt and Jimmy, and we were talking about this one as well. And that is the fact that the Adamantine Tower went away. So, that opens up, again, a whole other section that we could kind of revisit or look back at, and talking about tower lore. Tower lore is complex, to say the least. I can't even pretend to fully understand tower lore, but we have visited quite a few of the actual towers here in Elder Scrolls Online, right? If you've played the Somerset chapter, you've seen some stuff there. Again, the Adamantine Tower, stuff like that. So those are all little lore bits on the towers themselves, and what we have done with them in the game so far. But it would not surprise me if at some point we dove into that a little bit too, although that is quite complex. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm leaning more towards one of our first releases being an Argonian centric, or like one of our first seasons or something like that, having to do with that, and kind of like Duskfall, that sort of thing. So that's just kind of where I'm leaning. I have the UESP pulled up here, so I can do a little quick blurb on that, just so people can have a better understanding of it if you don't exactly understand what Duskfall is. So, straight from the UESP, it says, Duskfall refers to the slow decline of the old Saxhleel civilization. Little is known about this time period or what provoked the change, though it is clear that the elder Argonians communed with and had histories of their own. Their bows were often made from the bark of Hiss, and the Argonians of old were often able to commune directly with the Hist. It's theorized that ancient Argonian society was more advanced and unified before Duskfall, in an age known as the Zanmir period. Now, pause for a second. We know that we see a lot of Zanmirs in Elder Scrolls Online. We also know that one of the things that's referenced in the Murkmire stuff is that the Argonians are kind of like, yeah, history is history, and, whatever, those buildings are there, we don't really care about them that much. It's like kind of one of the things that we get a little bit of that vibe from that chapter in many ways. Okay, here we go. Let's carry on. However, a competing theory has been proposed that the ancient Argonians' trade connections reached further than what was previously believed. The ancient Argonians were adept at metalworking and often used volcanic glass in their weaponry. Some of their work was even inspired by Dwemer design, and ancient Argonian ruins have been found as far north as the southern coast of Morrowind's Inner Sea. Ancient Argonians viewed Sithis as a destroyer. They feared change and Sithis' destructive force. As a representation of this, they built vast stone pyramids known as Zanmir to withstand the test of time. Fearing Sithis to this extent could explain why the old priests of Sithis were able to retain a position of power in Argonian society in pre-Duskfall. Sithis had a more central role in this old society, and the ceremonies dedicated to Sithis were also different, including blood sacrifice. Unsurprisingly, there was resistance to Duskfall among the Sithis priesthood, with some of them taking extreme measures to halt the approaching change. One priestess of Sithis managed to return briefly in Second Era 582 and attempted to reclaim her temple in Murkmire. The ruins within Sosphere Cavern, the Tomb of Many Spears, the Sinchai Konu Monument, and the Teeth of Sithis are all examples of buildings from pre-Duskfall. So, again, what Duskfall is, we don't really know it's basically just implying that there was this big event that basically changed Argonian culture and the Hist. And yeah. So it would be pretty interesting, I think, personally, to explore some of that lore. But I don't know. Did you remember talking, or did you catch that from Roz at all, Gwen? Like, did you get to that or find him where people have gotten some of this sort of dialogue from?
If I did, I don't remember.
Yeah, so this is interesting to me because Argonian culture had this sort of like big paradigm shift, right? Like, originally they thought Sithis was very destructive and feared it, but now they look at Sithis as like change, and they get this like cyclical view of time and kind of how things work. So whereas previous Argonians built things that were like supposed to withstand the test of time, current Argonian society is like, let's build these structures that just can not be a big deal. And that's sort of how they have like adapted or become okay with change. But nobody really understands why that happened. So, I don't know. They talk a little bit about it and touch on it a little bit with Cyrodiilic Collections and Murkmire. But again, that's one of those quest lines that I honestly have not fully finished. So I don't know probably as much detail as some other people that would be potentially listening to this and wondering why I don't know, maybe talking in circles about some of the stuff. But yeah, to me, I think Duskfall could be very interesting, especially the tie-in with Sithis, and seeing kind of where all of that went from. I also think that, like I mentioned, we could get some more Dark Brotherhood stuff. Argonians who are born under the sign of the shadow are offered to the Dark Brotherhood and become shadow scales. We know that about them. But I think if they were going to go back and do some like Black Marsh Argonian Dark Brotherhood tie-in, shadow scales would be a great addition to some of the lore in this game. I don't know. That's just something that I think could be really, really cool. So that's a bit of my wall of crazy of things that could come this next year. I wish I had more time to look up more of the tower stuff and more of that lore, because again, that's something that I think would be interesting to explore a little more as well. So, do either of you have wall of crazy, what you think storyline could be? Gwen?
Like everybody else, I have a dream. I want to slaughter, murder, really. Just lots of killy. I want to see revamped blood textures. More skulls for my homes. A sanctuary in every zone. A place to rest between my adventures. Like everybody else, I have a dream. I just want to hear the victim's screams. I don't know. There we go.
Wow. Yeah. Gwen. Gwen.
That got intense.
Wait, I just have to say, I just want everyone to know that in Vegas 2 years ago, Gwen literally raised her hand during the Q&A session and said, "When can we have more Dark Brotherhood sanctuaries?" And they just kind of like
jittery. My hands are shaking at the.
They just kind of like stared at us.
I have those smiles burned in my brain, and I'm just like, I want it. Can I have it yet? Please. I'm waiting. I'm being patient. Please.
Yeah, they literally had big cheesy.
They did. They were
grins on their face.
Oh
like,
god.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I was like, oh no. Oh no.
Just give me the thing. Let my psychic powers be good for something.
I think didn't Rich say, yeah, that would be pretty cool. Something something like that. You said, like, when are we going to get more Dark Brotherhood content? That would be really neat. And somebody's response was, yeah, that would be really cool.
Can I have it? When are we going to get a sanctuary in every zone?
Yeah. Maybe it was Fyror. I don't remember. But somebody said, yeah, that would be really cool.
Yeah. Anyway. So that is my dream. That is what I want. That is my wall of crazy. So Dark Brotherhood mentioned. Yeah. No, I will hop on that. I just wrote that song in like 2 minutes. I will always hop on and pray for more Dark Brotherhood. Like, always praying to Sithis for more Dark Brotherhood. But in reality, for what I think for Wall of Crazy, if I wanted to get a prediction potentially correct, I'd say our first season will happen in April when they say it. And I think it's going to be tied up with the Jesters Festival and probably Sanguine related.
Ooh, yeah,
because they mentioned that in the letter.
I actually forgot about that. And that's something I agree with this. I think that we'll get some sort of a Golden Pursuit or something that will go with Sanguine. And yeah, I think that there is a strong yes for me as well. I'm on that with you as well.
No fooling around on that prediction. That's probably. Yeah, because if they're announcing it in April and then in the other thing they're saying that keep an eye out because I hear something weird's gonna have a Sanguine has something extra special planned this Jesters Festival. And when does the Jesters Festival happen? Well, the first season's probably gonna kick off after the Jesters Festival, and it's probably gonna be related to something like that. But I could be wrong. They could have absolutely nothing in common. Absolutely nothing. Totally
or it could be that they're going to do some sort of a tease or like a... What if they did like an April Fool's?
Okay,
that would be a riot.
Do you remember...
Our first season is this. Just kidding, April Fool's.
One, that'd be a really good long-standing April Fool's joke if they were actually trying to set it up for that. Kudos if you're really doing that. You can laugh now. Next, I forgot where I was going with this. It was important.
Oh, dang no.
It's okay. Oh, you remember Stuga? When they did the Stuga April Fools? Yep. And then it had the disclaimer at the bottom. Our lawyers want us to remind everyone that the posting of this is indeed April 1st.
Yes.
And then they went and nerfed Stuga, so she isn't actually following the player around wherever the zone is.
That is true.
That was unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
That would have made cosplay like research so much easier.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Yeah, no, you're right. It could totally be just an April Fool's joke.
I still personally think, we'll get a dungeon pack at the beginning of the year.
All right, so last little wall of crazy. Because we're doing seasons now and not chapters, PC and console are going to have the same release date for everything.
Whoa. That's a big theory there, Gwen.
Well, I mean, if they were waiting to run the Pursuit, so that way it lined up with the console launch so everyone had it.
Yeah. That is true. You're not wrong. Yeah, and if they're doing stuff a little bit more as experimental as well, and there's no hard dates for stuff, you know what? You could be darn right on that.
Yeah, if things are going to be limited time, it would be hard to have, especially if there's no gaps between seasons, where, one ends, the next one starts. That would get real confusing if console players were 2 weeks behind and we're doing season of the snowman when everybody else is doing season of the falling tree. I made that up because I'm looking at a snowman stocking holder. But yeah, it would get confusing. I think to a lot of people, the comments on forums and things about problems they're having with a season, and people are like, wait, what season? I'm not doing that. I haven't even seen that. So I think you're probably right. I think probably we'll see that
There we go.
kind of line up.
There's my Reach Dream Wall of Crazy, my Potentially Realistic by Analyzation Wall of Crazy, and then my freebie Free Space on the bingo card Wall of Crazy.
Okay. Okay. That's pretty good. I like it. Yeah, I definitely say for my wall of crazy for the year would be I definitely feel like we're getting, or we might get something Black Marsh at some point. I also would not be surprised if we got another island at some point, maybe off of oh my gosh, that area over there to the left.
Right.
The one with the red guards. That
Yeah.
space. Yeah, my brain. It hurts. Oh my gosh, that's how you can tell it's 1:30 in the morning. I can't even say the names
I
on
definitely
the
think
maps.
we're going to get an
Strass
island over there.
Mackay?
No. Just like some of the islands that are over there, potentially off of the place Hammerfell. That's it.
Oh, the actual zone-ish area. Got it.
Zone-ish area. Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me if we got something like that. Here's my other big wall of crazy that I did not actually think about until just now, but it was something that I talked about earlier at one point with some Lore Seekers. I would not be surprised if we get a Shivering Isles piece.
Well, yeah, that would definitely tie into the whole April thing with the Jester's Festival and Sheogorath and Sanguine and whatnot.
Yeah, I think that Shivering Isles would be an interesting little lore drop or a little lore blurb there. Solstheim is up there. That's another spot too. I mean, yes, I'm kind of just naming off empty places in the map, I know, but those are ones that I think would be the most relevant or the most likely to pop up soon, personally.
It would have to be, especially because if they're trying to start seasons and they want people to still keep playing, it would have to be something that is beloved, that will like actually draw people in to get them to willingly try it.
Okay. I have one last wild, completely off base. I don't think would ever be an actual thing, but I'm gonna just throw it out there because it's fun.
Cross-platform.
No.
Okay,
Nope.
good. They're not that crazy.
No, I'm not that crazy. I'm a little
Needs to
more.
happen.
I actually think you'll think that this is more crazy than that.
Whoa.
This will never happen, I don't think. And also, I have not finished Athelia's stuff, so I can't tell you the actual thing on this. We have been progressing in timeline, whatever, ending the three, well, there's two things. One would be, what if we end the Three Banners War? Like, actually end the Three Banners War, because we're working on Cyrodiil revamps. That would be wild, right? Like, yes, it would never tie in, because if we're keeping Cyrodiil as a PvP zone, it doesn't seem like it would be possible, right? So that's thing number one. Thing number two is what? What are you hawing on? Do you want to say something on what I just said?
The first thing is
Yeah.
on your first thing.
Yeah.
The day we end the Three Banners War is the day that ESO actually goes into maintenance mode.
You think so?
Yeah.
Huh. I don't know. I don't think so. I think there would be a lot that they could do with that.
So, okay, keep your train of thought, because I want to touch on now what you've both just said. The maintenance mode thing is something I've seen thrown around as a concern.
I didn't even know that was a term until you guys mentioned it.
Dead
But
game.
now I'm
Yeah.
thinking
Dead game.
about it.
Everybody,
Yeah.
dead game. Just kidding.
They say
there
that
are
every year.
there's a lot of people that think that this change is kind of going that direction, but to the point of the Three Banners War, what did we just do with Battlegrounds?
Changed it to 2 factions.
Uh-huh. What if Cyrodiil just becomes more of a what if they change the way the factions work, and they could end the Three Banners War? ZeniMax is working on another MMO, but it's supposed to be a different IP, I believe.
Yeah.
But one of the ways that they can get away from old consoles is a new game.
Yeah.
But I don't know that we're there yet. That is getting crazy. But anyway,
Yeah,
when you said that, that's what popped into my head is they could, because we did just go from 3 to 2 in Battlegrounds. What if they do make drastic changes to the entire way that Cyrodiil even functions as far as the factions go? Is that something that, like, having it just be my team versus that team, instead of my team versus that team and that team, with the way the numbers are having to work, with 2 people are damaging me, but also I'm damaging both of them, but they're not, but I'm healing that one and the other one's healing this one, but nobody's, does that help, with anything in Cyrodiil? Anyway, continue with what you were saying.
Okay. So that's a crazy idea. My next crazy idea would be so difficult to track and so difficult to explain to people that it would probably A, never happen, B, we're already a mess because we've talked about dragon breaks and people are like, is ESO one big dragon break? Because everybody's running around and they're vestiges and there's all sorts of things. What if Athelia was introduced to basically explain the entire structure of this game? And what if seasons became a way to map out or like look at threads of fate for each individual character?
Oh, you're so wrong. It's adorable. I mean, no, please finish the quest line and then you're fine. It's okay. You can have your wall crazy.
I know. That's why I said I haven't finished things and this is totally not an accurate thing. But, and I know that. That's why I said this is not a thing that would ever happen. But that would be so silly and strange. Right? Like, yeah. It would never happen. But how silly would it be? So, I mean, we don't know the outcome of the war. They could literally do anything they want.
Oh, the Dominion wins. We know the one guy gets the thing and does this whatnot, and that both brings us into the other thing, and then we know we end up having to deal with more Dominion later on. So yeah, we know how it ends. We're just kind of goofing off.
Gwen, that's a long time from now, though.
I'm still not wrong.
Well, that's true. That's true. Oh my goodness.
So, seasons come, introduce, put us in the maintenance mode on ESO. ESO 2 is announced. Old consoles left behind. Is that what we're saying?
That's what you're saying. That's not what the rest of us are saying. I think that that's unlikely.
I'm still on the Dark Brotherhood train. I will always hope for more Dark Brotherhood content. Like, the second someone says Dark Brotherhood content, rationalization goes out the window.
Yeah, I think we'll get... Go ahead. Never.
Oh, I was just gonna say I think that's an easy assumption since they specifically stated it. So I think we'll see that sooner than later.
Yeah, I think my hope would be that we could get some cool Argonian shadow scale Duskfall sort of thing, which I'm a little disappointed because, come on, how cool would the Elder Scrolls Online Duskfall be for a chapter name? So cool.
One, yes.
Imagine what that Ouroboros would look like. So cool. Anyway.
It would be bloody gorgeous. Ha 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 ha.
Well, now we're just going to get 3 or 4 of those changes a year.
Yeah. Who knows? Yeah, I don't know. I think that there's a strong chance of those being some of the first content we see. But
Especially when they're talking about revamping base game textures and stuff. Because I was told that I was a psychopath for how I was talking about how it was weird that the blood isn't realistic enough and that it looks like acrylic paint the other day. I'm like, no, it's weird that the blood looks like acrylic paint. It can be better. Yeah. Anyway, please don't call me a psycho.
That's silly.
It does look like acrylic paint. If you walk around and you stab enough people with the Blade of Woe and you see the blood spatters, it's acrylic paint graphics. It's not blood. It's acrylic paint.
Oh goodness. Yeah. My big prediction before we knew chapters were going away was it was gonna be Black Marsh this year, and then I would say the Pale in 2026 or 27. Like I think more likely 2026, but that was before we knew what we know now. So who knows anymore? Who knows?
Separate servers for ESO Classic.
Oh my gosh. Get out, never. I'm going to kick you out of the Snugpod.
Wow.
Well, that's exactly what I was thinking. It was wow. That's what they did.
Mm-hmm.
I am glad you appreciate my joke.
Yeah. Great. Good. Oh gosh.
Old school Cyrodiil, you know, wow. ESO Classic.
Yeah.
And now I do need that Dark Brotherhood expansion. Please and thank you.
Yeah, here's the only thing that would make me go like maybe they wouldn't do it right away is Dark Brotherhood released in 2016. So
No. Okay, so what tracks with me thinking that you're right on the Dark Brotherhood? So I was going back through in our notes earlier, right? When we were looking at everything. Mm-hmm. So let me go to my list. So when we did our daily rewards, right? When we were going through all that and I was compiling that list, we had our DLC chapters, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you got Orsinium and you got Clockwork City, and then you got Thieves Guild.
Yep.
They're saving the Dark Brotherhood so you can get it later. That's going to be next year's freebie.
Could be. There's a strong chance, or I think there's a strong argument for that, for sure. I also tend to look at which stuff they start releasing in the store, which I know sounds silly, but like I always thought that last year we got a lot of Wood Elf stuff right before we got a chapter that had a lot of Wood Elf stuff in it. And like, not necessarily that we've had a lot of Dark Brotherhood things, but I just feel like if you were to go back, well, maybe not. I don't know.
Well, we had the crates, right?
Mm-hmm. We had Dark Brotherhood crates.
That's kind of where my brain was at, is like, okay, we re-released some Dark Brotherhood crates. We also had some Xanmere crates not too long ago. So, yes, they are in a rotation. Yes, they do come out kind of like continuously on rotation. But I don't know. I just always feel like they give us a little like teaser of stuff. And that was one of the other things that got me looking into this again, is this sort of thing. And the houses that they re-released. They re-released the fish tank, the Murkmire one. They hadn't done that in a while. And I always feel like that's, again, one of those things that it's like, let's see if people buy into this. Let's see if people are interested in this. So
just a sanctuary in every zone, and please revamp the blood textures.
Oh, they did re-release the Sanctuary too this year, now that I think about it. They released that
that's
house.
That's the abandoned sanctuary. That doesn't count. The Dark Brotherhood doesn't use that anymore.
But when was the last time it had been in the store?
Last year.
Was it really?
I mean, it's pretty much released every year.
Okay, see, I didn't remember that. I thought it had I thought it had been a few years, because remember we went through like quite a few years where we didn't have the Sijic house in. There were a couple of homes that weren't in.
That and the other spooky one, they normally release around Halloween every year.
Okay.
Just kind of like how they release the Snow Globe every year around New Life. Yeah, same thing.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. That's just my my wild sort of guess. It wasn't as well thought out as I would have liked it to be, because I really should have been keeping track of my Wall of Crazy that I had about a month ago when I was just coming up with things left and right that had base in the game, but, you know, there wasn't a whole lot of additional time for me today or in the last month. It's been pretty crazy trying to keep up with stuff, so, yeah.
Well, now we're just kind of rambling in circles, so does anyone else have anything to add, or do we want to keep rambling for another 2 hours until we get answers?
Well, I have to get up and go to work in like 4 hours, so probably not.
All right.
Yeah, I don't think we need to take Gilligan's ship back out this week.
Nope. A 3-hour tour.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right. Well, if that's gonna finish it up, we can knock out some announcements and contact information.
Sure.
Things like that, and call it a night or a day, or whatever the case may be.
Whatever the case may be.
So
no more murder hobos. If you were on a contract, would you ideally go for a long range shot with a bow, get up close with the blade of woe, or use poison? What is your preference?
Close blade. I'm a night blade. I'm gonna walk up right behind you.
I probably a bow, because stealth archer is always OP,
Good choice.
All right.
Although the poison thing's kind of fun, it adds that extra element of challenge. Getting to put the poison in the pocket and hope that they stick their hand in their pocket and go, "What is this?" and then eat it. I don't know.
So announcements.
Indeed. For those wondering, if there's been a lot of chatter about lore seekers and things like that. We are part of the Lore Seekers Guild. That is a guild that you can be part of too if you would like. It is on every platform. I think the biggest presence is PC and then PlayStation. Xbox is in there as well. If you want to join, you can just head over to loreseekers.club. Got all the links you need. Do the stuff. Join the guild. Get the Discord, all that. And come hang out with us. Come play. Come do some stuff.
And if you are interested in specifically hanging out with us, we are on the PlayStation North American server, where we have wonderful people who host some events throughout the week. Starting with on Mondays, we have Mondays with Moki. This is fishing Cyrodiil, or if there's an event going on, we'll do that. And that is at 8 p.m. Central Time, 9 p.m. Eastern. And then we have Treacherous Tuesday Dungeons. This is not a sign-up sheet. This is just a day where we kind of set aside to help each other out with dungeons, get an achievement, maybe get a lore run-in, stuff like that. And then we have Fearless Fridays with Arthuria Dragoon, where we are undaunted.
Undaunted.
We're
We
undaunted.
are undaunted.
Undaunted.
Where we group up and run the Undaunted dungeons. And you can choose how daunted you want to be, whether you want to do vet or normal. It's running whatever Undaunted dailies are the Undaunted dailies for that Friday. Now, if you want to stay in contact with us or question us about a show or tell us we are absolutely crazy with our wall of crazy, or if you do actually know what's going on and want to tell us to shh, be quiet, or otherwise we will indeed silence you, you may contact us on our socials at
Snugpod Cast on X, or you can contact us at snugpodcast@gmail.com, or yeah, that's pretty much the only places you can contact us.
That is pretty much it. I mean, you can comment on the YouTube video. I love when I see comments. That's great. Please comment. That's cool. Those of you who have been watching on YouTube, you're awesome. I see those. Those make my day. I love watching that view count. And or you can also slide something into our inbox, a whisper on twitch.tv/snugpodcast. However, if you are watching us live, and you're realizing some of our episodes are starting to get kind of long-winded lately, you can also listen to us on your podcatcher of choice, because we are a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you're listening to this and, you're like, you know what, I got 3 hours a night to kill. Sundays at like 10 Central-ish is when we try to stream. So if you want to come hang out with us live, you're welcome to do that. We try to, moderately watch the chat and, respond when stuff comes up. If you have comments there. But you can definitely come hang out with us in the moment if you so choose.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I'm getting back to our notes.
Getting back to our notes and dozing off.
Hey, did we talk? No, I wasn't dozing off. I was actually looking at something that I forgot to bring up for the Wall of Crazy, but I feel like I shouldn't have brought it up for the Wall of Crazy because it's a little spoilery.
Oh.
It's about next year's Morphable. Anyway, yeah. Yeah, it's there if you know where to look. Anyway, we didn't tell them how to join the guild if they want to hang out with us, did we?
Never did. He did.
Oh my gosh. See, that's what happens. I was too busy looking up things about Julianos. I'm so sorry. Anyway. Okay.
And this is why we're the lore seekers, not the lore rememberers.
I know. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I was too deep in the Wall of Crazy. I was scribbling and putting string together, and I missed the entire guild announcement. I'm so sorry.
Yep. We can tell you how to find lore, and while we recommend to find lore, we will not be able to tell you how to retain lore. You're on your own there.
Yeah, that's true.
Sometimes we have to seek what we already found and find it again.
Every time.
That's true. Every time, actually. Yeah.
All right. Well, for those that hung out with us, on the stream, thank you for hanging out with us. And for those that are listening later, thank you as well. Thanks for just letting us be, part of your time. And we appreciate it. That's why we do it. And, so hopefully we will see you again soon. And we will be back most likely. I think everything should be good for next week. Life be lifing sometimes, but I think
life be
there's not anything. Yeah, I don't think there's anything going on. We're past holidays other than New Year's, but that's in the middle of the week. So, but anyway, until next time, have a good week. Have a good New Year if you get to hear this before that happens. And hopefully it's been a good one for you, and the next one is great as well. And we will catch you next time. Be a good person. Just be decent. And take care of yourself and others. Bye-bye.
Kill well and often.
Sleep well, Tamriel. Might be a little scary to say after that.
No, it seems counterintuitive. Take care of others and kill them.
You are taking care of their problems. You're taking care of their problems. Okay.
I've got a backache. Oh, now you've got a knife in it.
Okay, I'll say it again. Sleep well, Tamriel.
You sleep awfully sound for a murderer.
Or maybe it's, hey, you're finally awake. All right, we're out. Bye.
Bye.